Welcome to stream, folks. Saturday night. Hope you're all having a lovely weekend, and it's on with some more development. So, this afternoon, I decided to do a little something with the lighting, and we basically ended up. Let me just let you see this. Okay, so what we ended up with was each light every 10 to 12 seconds it basically gets a new intensity and a new attenuation and lerps over 3 seconds to that new intensity and attenuation. Okay, so let's have a look at that in game. So as you can see, our lighting changes now. What we're going to need to do here is we're going to have to start looking at the FPS. Okay. Now, that is not good. But I'm going to put that down to the fact that I have two sets of about 10 Google browsers open, plus we have our stream open, plus we have Streamlabs going, plus Discord doesn't help, right? And that's actually looking okay. But we can do hang on a second. Hi Legend, how you doing, bud? Yeah, we're going to continue updating stuff as we do it. Right. So when we press the button here, everything opens. And we get our... Is there something you would like to see me working on, Legend? Well, there's not much point in picking these up. But we are some items. Which items would you like to see me working on? Well, you can give ideas, but that doesn't mean to say that I'm going to take them. But we can discuss. Book. Okay. What about a book? There's a monster around there. I don't know how you get the idea that the game is about library books. Although I kinda do, but I kinda don't. The game's about a vampire hunter. Right now, the only reason, right, hold your horses here. We already have something similar to levels, right? Now, I don't know if you've actually seen this or not. Right, now this was only put in as a piece of scenery decoration, and it was just to basically show people a basically randomly generated bookcase. That's the only reason that this is here. There's no story behind it. You'll see here that the bookcase is empty, but when I press play, it fills in the books or doesn't fill in the books or whatever, right? But it was merely to show procedural generation of a bookcase. Right, now, as for levels, levels are all kind of well and good, and this is how you actually enter a level, right? So this is a level 2, but you've got to unlock it by doing this one. Okay. And then this one isn't a level at all, it's just a picture. But yeah, I could do bits where you have to go upstairs and stuff, that's fine. Now what I wanted to do was, actually this would be like this bookcase opens if you've finished certain levels, right? So that there's like secret levels that you don't see, or we could have this one move, or you know, we could do something with this, and that's also a procedurally generated bookcase thing, right? In fact, we could add some stuff here again. Right, let's see what we've got. A little concerning, but I'm not too concerned as the fact of the frames at the moment. But a lot of that's going to be because my machine's running a stream plus, as I said, about 25 tabs on Google Chrome, plus Discord, plus other stuff. So I'm not going to worry too much about it just yet. So if we go in here, yeah, those are all the building parts. And we have the meshes here. Right, so I mean, a lot of these are player things for like bathrooms and stuff like that. So bathrooms and kitchens, and which would be okay if I had bathrooms and kitchens, but I don't. But we can put a few things in. Our bookcase is 0.7, so if we basically lock that at 0.7, that should keep us in the same sort of scale. This doesn't seem to have a front. Well, in theory that would be right, because basically it's a table. So let's not worry about that. Alright, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll move that to there, and then we'll have a couple of seats, I suppose. Alright, we'll have them at kind of slightly different angles, and then can always stick a candle on there. Right, we're going to have to change this down to like a 10. Again, this doesn't need to be particularly accurate. In fact, accurate would be a bad thing. Right, so that's a wee bit too much. We're going to have to do that. That's no good. Right. That should about do us. Right. Yeah, that's fine. You're fine, legend. If there's any other ideas, as I said, it wasn't based on books, it was... Now, there's no reason that I can't make an elevator, but the problem is I don't have an elevator. Right? Which gives me kind of a problem. Okay. And the next thing we actually need to do is open up our pawn and basically get ready for calculating the end score. But the likes of doing this and adding like a couple of things in does, it just gradually gets it to fill it out, you know. It's just another tiny bit of work that doesn't need redone. Right, so what else have we got here? Is there something else here that I could actually use? Actually, I know for a fact there is. Right, and it's this box here. Right, and it doesn't seem to be anything, which isn't a bad thing. Except in this instance, it needs to get used with something else and not that. It's kind of like this thing here. It's like this cupboard here. Right, and basically using it for this. Right, so where was that box? There, it's there. Right, so that would be kind of leaflety thing. Right? Not that we're going to have any leaflets in it, but anyway. And this doesn't quite need to be. Right. So that's something that would kind of be on I mean, we could, in theory, that doesn't look like paper to me. No, because it isn't, it's a plate. Right, so I would be tempted here. Oh, it's a bot attack. Well, it does say something that I do get attacked by bots quite a lot these days. I'm going to take that as a compliment. Right, so we're going to do that to 90. Then to 90. Right. And then basically do the same with this. Right. Then we could move this to the back a little bit. And there we go. Now, what we could do is do that, then do that, and we could kind of put it at an angle-y type thing. Yeah, just like that. That would actually do. What we'd actually want here is like a writing pad. Like, you know, the old leather. Basically something like that, but we're not going to have one of these in here, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. Now, I do know there's a pen there. But, as I said, I'm not going to dwell too much on it. Right. It's just to add a few items of note. In fact, the likes of this, right? See if it was a normal thing. It would be like this, right? Somebody would have put like the phone on top of it to hold it in place. And that's the type of thing that would happen. Right, so I'm going to go with that. So now if we press play, you can see here we've got our, we might actually need to bring these all down to 75. Except for probably, yeah, we're going to do this to 75, right? 0.7. And that's way too small. Yeah, probably. Right, we're going to undo that. Okay, so it's not going to let me do that. We're going to put that back. And we're going to just select that. And we're going to say 0.85. And that's probably better. Then we're going to select our telephone and our piece of paper, and we're going to bring these back down, and then we're going to get our box, we're going to move it in a bit, okay, we're going to actually move it back, and then we're going to select all our items and bring them down. Right, that's better. Now at any time, if we really wanted to, we could muck around and actually turn these into interactive items. Then you could have a look at them or whatever if we add some kind of a story type thing or whatever to the to the game, right? We could make these interactive items, right? But it just adds a wee bit more flavour to the game, and it looks to me like these things here need to be 0.85. Right, we're going to save that. Okay, so that's looking better. Added a couple of little things there. Now, as I said, if you have a look at this kind of stuff, this should start giving you some ideas on what you can do or what you may want to do, right? Like, yes, there's books, bottle top, that's buckets. This stuff is all going to come in more handy in like other levels, because the rooms are going to be more open, so we're going to have to actually put more stuff in them. Right? So yeah. So, if you're still there, hey Assassin's Boot, how you doing, mate? Hope you're having a lovely evening, if it is indeed evening where you are. Now what we could do is we could add more of our level selects if we wanted to, except we're going to undo that and we're going to turn it back to 50 so that we've got a decent distance. And we can have that one there, but we can move it over just a little bit, right? And then what we can do is hit 3, and that's us. So we now have a picture ready for level 3. So if we press play here, you'll notice now that why did that not select a level? Why did that not select a picture? Well, that's weird. Right, wait a minute. Picture level select. Okay, so I must have a setting wrong there somewhere. Apparently not. Well, that's weird. Material dynamic. Alright. So hang on a second. It's saying it doesn't have a material dynamic. Yeah, you do. That's a weird one. Right. I'm an idiot. It's because it's not in the database. Level 3 ain't in the database. Right. Just give me 1 second, guys, and I'll fix this. Right, it's not that one. Alright, it's not that one either. It's up here. Right, so it's DT levels. Right. So if we go to DT levels, right, and we add 3, And we haven't got an image yet for this, so this is a bit pants. We can do a something image. Right, we'll do something silly. Right, let's see if we can find something fast that's going to kind of work. That'll do. Right, and the name of the third level. Oh, we're coming up with the puns tonight, I'll tell you that. Then, and we basically fill these in as well. We don't need to fill them in because we're not going to do a score yet. Okay, let's save that. Then we can go back to here, level status, and we're going to have to add one here. That's going to be 3. That's going to be 3. Now we do copy the data here, which I know isn't. We're not completely normalizing the data, as you know, in in a database. You would try to do it as much as possible, but you do sacrifice some normalization for ease of use and speed. So we are not going to do it, or we're going to have it in 2 places there. So basically it should work now. And you'll notice that we don't have an error, and we do have a picture, and the picture zooms out and comes back in. Right, now the problem there is in DT level status we set it to locked as false, so we actually want it as true because it will start off as locked. And we are also going to have to set that up in the save game file, so we're not going to do that right now, but just to prove that this works, that's working fine, and that's locked, that isn't a level, and that is locked as well. Excuse me, a little bit of frog in my throat there. Right, so as you can see, it's all working rather nicely. And we can jump into a level by hitting that and hitting the jump button. And I'll tell you what we can do next. We shall implement the stun button. Right. And I'm going to test it later off stream, what sort of frame rates we're getting, and have a look at the profiler to see what is actually killing the frame rate at the moment. As I said, there's maybe nothing that's killing the frame rate. I know one thing that will be, and we can actually fix that right now. Now, from what I believe, because we're rendering the mini-map as well, right, and we're using 2 separate rendery things for that, what we might need to do here is in the minimap, let's find the minimap. It's going to be in our HUD. Right. Now, we've got two render textures, right? And I can't remember what the other one is. Right, this is a render texture. Render target, sorry. That's a texture. That's a texture. That's a texture. Minimap. Now the question is, there is, I know for a fact, there is another render texture. And it's okay, let's try something, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to try, I think it might be something to do with the teleporters. Right, the teleporters are also using a render texture. In fact, I think they're actually using two. So we might actually have a problem with our minimap, sorry, our transport teleporters, right? So I'm going to see if removing first of all, I'm going to find a particular thing to find out. Right, so here is a teleporter, right? And we're going to look in here. And it's this RT teleport 1. Right? Now, what I want to do is find this, right, find references, and it doesn't use it. Trust me, it does. Right, and what we want to do is basically do it one by one. We want it to do basically nothing. Okay? Because basically when we're using this render target, we're basically not using a render target at all. The point is, let me show you. This camera has always got to render to a target, right? And if we're not using it, we switch it off. Okay? Or let me, from the point of actually trying to get it to run faster, right? If the player isn't in proximity to this teleporter, basically it stops rendering the thing here. Okay? Or rather, it renders to a different target. right? You can't switch it off. But if we switch to a different target with a tiny texture, then my theory is it's going to be a lot faster. I could be completely wrong, of course. Right? But that doesn't seem to do anything. If anything, it makes it worse. Right? And my dog is unhappy that the wife went out, even though I've got no idea where she went. I'm going to turn the mic off for a second and go for a cigarette. I shall be back in 2 minutes. Okay guys, we're back. So, the question has to be now, if we put that back and we press play, now we are jumping between now we are getting a rather sketchy frame rate there, but what we'll do is we shall delete these out the game, then we'll press play, and we got hit. Now that is definitely hitting our frame rate. Those teleporters are definitely hitting the frame rate, right? Because we're standing in this corridor. Right, and we're hitting over 30. As I said before, if we undo that and put these back, press play, right, now this is where we were. Well, are you talking about Unreal Engine 5 or are you talking about Unreal Engine 4? Right, so this render target is obliterating my frame rate. Right? Definitely it's the teleporters that are obliterating the frame rate. Now, I wonder, I don't think that's actually getting used. Actually, yes it is. That's material. Aiden, what version of Unreal Engine are you talking about? Are you talking about the new one, or are you talking about a previous or any one? Because Unreal Engine will probably happily run anyone apart from 5 on a laptop. Not saying performance is going to be stunningly brilliant, but I know a lot of people who do use laptops and they don't seem to have a huge issue. Right, so we're going to have to do a bit of investigation into the render target and their performance, right? Because basically they're giving me an issue. Right, now what I wanted to do was basically switch them off. Right, so I'm going to do a quick check on Google here. Switch off render scene component UE4. Right, okay. Do we just set it invisible? Right, so let's have a look at this. Right, and we've got all our stuff there. Is it just a matter of setting it hidden in game? Because if I do that, right, they're now both hidden in game. Right, so if this is correct, that's doing the job. But the strange thing is, right, okay, we might have fixed half the battle here. Right, because if the component begins, we don't actually need to do this. Right, we want, let's have a look at this. It's this sphere that we're talking about. That's the box to do that, that's fine. Right, so it's this sphere we are interested in. Right? And it's not this that we want to do. what we want to do basically is set the visibility. To hidden. Right. And then we're going to copy and duplicate that. And when we do come in there, the new visibility is going to be that, right? So, in theory, okay, so why is that not working? Right, that's TP index 0. That's TP index 0. Wait a minute. It's right, we delete that, we move that to there, we delete that and we move that to there. Right, because basically we're using the camera from the other teleporter that is connected to it, right? So when we come up to here, yep, we're getting a frame rate, but it's still not working. Well, that's weird. Right? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Right, what I'm going to do is we're going to put that back to the way it was. We're going to put that back to the way it was. And then we're going to check that it's working again. Now, we did not change anything else, did we? Nope, I don't think so. Right. So that's working again, but our frame rate has died. Okay. So there's definitely something weird going on here. So what we're going to do, we're going to do that. Ah, wait a minute. That's not visibility. It's set hidden in game we want to do. So okay, so this goes up here, that goes there. Okay, and it's scene component 2D. Right. Save that. Press play. And our camera's not moving. I think these are the wrong way around. And let me just move this out of the way a second. And there we go, that is working again. Except it's showing the wrong camera. Right? And the other thing is, it hasn't solved a problem. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that. I'm going to put it back the way it was. Then we're going to do a bit of further investigation basically into why we're getting a horrible frame rate drop. Now, it could be because right, so we're activating that camera. this component, which is the other teleporter. Okay, I'm going to investigate that a little bit later. Right, so we should be back to horrible frame rates again. Now, there is a bit of a caveat to all this, and that is the fact that my machine is running at a pretty high frame rate. Sorry, pretty high resolution. Right, now, my big issue here right, that is the correct camera. So it's showing the right camera and everything, right? Now, I'm just wondering here. If I switch that off, does that still work? Do I in fact need that capture on movement, or can I leave that as it is? And the answer is no. Now, the interesting thing here is that this has its own tick thing. Or at least it looked as if it did. Component tick interval. So I'm guessing if I put that to 2, let's have a look at this and see what actually happens. I've got no idea what's going to happen here, right? There is a thing I'm kind of expecting. Right, that did absolutely squat diddly. Right, we're going to set that back, and I'll tell you what, we're going to do that. And even that doesn't stop it. There is something it does though. It actually destroys the image quality. Now, here's what I want to do. What I'm going to do is we're going to get our RT teleport. God, that is down to 256. We'll do 128. 128. We'll save that. Now, I don't think that's going to make any difference either. It actually did a tiny bit. We're actually managing to hit 20 frames a second there. I am interested to know if we run it as a standalone game, what sort of frame rate we're going to get. Or if we built it out, what kind of frame rate we get. But as I said, I'm probably better testing it with Streamlabs and everything else switched off. It's pre-calculating shaders. It does look okay. Right, we might actually need to take teleporters out. Right guys, I'm going to call it for a Saturday night. If you've enjoyed watching the stream, hit like and subscribe, and check out the description for links to Patreon to support the channel and the game, buy assets and that type of stuff, and check out my previous game FTD2 on Steam, or even just add it to your wish list, that would help as well. And I shall be back tomorrow at 2 PM Central. Bye bye for now.